Welcome back, fellow scrubs. The Thursday stream's back. My hand feels a bit better, so today was a good day to bring it back here. Anyway, let's see. I'm Mark D. Wiz. This is the Game Dev Scrub Show with me, and we do the game dev and that kind of stuff. So this Thursdays I work on Retro Mansion game stuff. Working title, obviously. So it'd be a dumb title to actually have. Unless it's one of those like Goose Game. Untitled Goose Game was probably the perfect title for that game, but it was kind of goofy and weird. But this one's not that goofy. It's a little weird, but it's not that goofy. So I wouldn't just call it Retro Mansion game. It's just because it's a retro game, and it's about a mansion, and it's a game. So there's the work in progress title. Anyway, I'll be completely honest. I don't know exactly what we're gonna do today. I promised we'd be back here on Thursday, but I'm completely winging it today. It's been a very tiring week, so let's just chill and have some fun. So I don't think I've shown this stuff yet. Yeah, I'm pretty sure in the Discord we were posting these, where Tim was like, "Make them emote. They need to." You talking about these? The new style of sprites are easier to make them express an emote. So he's like, "We'll make them emote," and I'm like, "Okay." So then here we are, and it's emoting. Ricky's mad and he's sad. Or I guess he's worried. And Melody's mad and worried. Melody looks really mad when she's mad. And then Deke. Oh yeah, because we were arguing over the eyebrows. Nobody really had, like, I don't know, you get like eyelash eyebrow combinations here. Because you only have so much detail, right, to put into a sprite. So like if you give him an eyebrow, it like looks weird. It looks like he came directly out of the hell's that anime? Fooly Cooly. Remember the eyebrow guy? He had the paste on eyebrows. That's what that looks like. So you get eyebrows that are also eyelashes, right? So when you do something like this, your eyelash is here, but your eyebrow is here, right? Anyway, so Tim was complaining that Deke has eyebrows now. So these are the new revisions of the sprites that we did. And I changed Deke considerably. The other two didn't change too much, but Deke was the last one to get still had the old look to him, and so I spruced him up a little bit. And so I gave him eyebrows, and Tim was like, "Why does he have eyebrows? Nobody else has eyebrows." I'm like, "Yeah, sure they've got eyebrows." It's like, "No, they've got eyelashes." I'm like, "No, but they're eyelash brows. They're the same thing." They're just boiled down into one design element, and we had this big fucking argument about eyebrows and eyelashes. Anyway, so I'm like, look, it makes it easier for Deke to emote if he's got eyebrows. Like otherwise, he's got nothing, right? He's just staring blankly. But you give him eyebrows, and all of a sudden you can emote. He's like, "Well, make him emote then," and I'm like, "Sure," and I made him all mad. I made him angry. Variant X says, "I think they got around that in River City Ransom by giving Alex Ryan gigantic heads in proportion to their bodies." I don't remember exactly what those look like. I know that I got the giant heads, so let's see, hold on. River City Ransom sprites. Let's see what we got. What's it look like? Come on, open it. I don't know if this is a good copy or not, but we'll see. Oh yeah, that's good. That's a GIF. Jiffy. Yeah, see, they don't really have like eyebrows. They're just eyelash brows. It's a common tactic to just kind of merge those into one. So you can with the same line you can imply an eyelash, an eyebrow, and like your like brow ridge all in one. Like here, this is the brow ridge along with the eyelash and all that. So it's, and you just kind of like erase them when you don't need them. Here, it just kind of shows the eyes. It's got the happy little anime eyes, but it's kind of like doesn't have eyebrows or lashes anymore. Hello, doggy. What are you doing? Hello. Walking around? Hi. She's sitting at my feet looking at me. I'm not going anywhere. You think I'm going somewhere? I'm sitting here. You're locked in now. But yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's just a common technique. It makes a lot of sense. Because otherwise, to differentiate them, you'd need a different color. Or you'd need more space, right? So, if you get, like, you could do that, sure. But then the details start mixing with the hair. And then now it looks kind of weird, right? And you can sort of design around it, like if he's bald. He's just bald, he's a baldy. Right, now he's bald. Look at me. Yeah, there. Now you can get the eyebrow in, right? Because he's bald. Hey, who's that? IGN. Oh, IGN Dynamic. Well, thank you. Thanks for the follow. I was trying to pronounce it like a name, and I'm like, oh no, okay, I get it. I'm terrible with the names. Anyway, yeah. So you could technically like just make him bald and give him some eyebrows. Oh boy, but you know, you want hair, right? So it's just an eyelash eyebrow combo. And also merged with the pupil. And it's just boiling down your details can work. Now it doesn't work for everything. It just happens to work for the eyes. But you gotta see whether or not it looks weird, you know? So you can attempt to do it. But if it looks really super weird, maybe you shouldn't. Anyway, so Tim and I were arguing about the eyebrows. Look, Deke's got eyebrows. No one else got eyebrows. Sure, they got eyebrows. What do you mean? They're right there. So yeah, we ended up with that. I think, yeah, these are the before and after. So Ricky's, you know, let me drag these out to the middle here. We'll do them side by side to be a little easier to see them. Okay. So Ricky had a whole bunch of different things, just like not major things, but like tweaks. So his hair got shortened in the back a little bit. I didn't like the way this looked. Looked more like, I don't know, like his head was more like a Lego head or something, or like Bomberman's got a giant TV head. It just looked kind of weird in the back, the way that it just kind of cut to a angle like that. So I smoothed that out. They did unfortunately take a little bit of detail out, but I think that's okay. At least the shape is right now, and I didn't want to sacrifice the ear detail. His hand got bigger, and I guess his arm did a little bit as well, though his sleeves stayed the same. And then his pants got baggier, which I thought was fine, especially because we're going to be differentiating him from Deke. And if Deke is more of the prim and proper type, his pants won't be as baggy, right? So we want to make a noticeable difference between Deke and Ricky there. It also makes Ricky a bit more chunk, and that was also with the larger shirt here. All that was kind of like to make him look a little bulkier. So if Deke's gonna be the nerd, he's not going to be as athletic, right? I mean, stereotypically. And so Deke's going to be more about, like, using gadgets probably and stuff like that. And Ricky's just going to be like, I have a baseball bat and I'm going to hit things with the baseball bat. It's just going to unga bunga it and that's it. So I think making him a little thicker makes sense. He's just chunk, a little bit chunk, big heavy boy. Gonna hit things with the bat. So that's where all that came down. Really, anything I slimmed down was back of his head. And I think the shirt looks better now. It looks a bit more baggy, but that's fine. He's not meant to like look fat. He's just meant to look a little more built, I guess. And so all those details came from that. And did a lot of work on the bottom of the shoes here. I don't think Melody got much of anything, but let's take a look. I think I changed her hair? It's been a while since I did these. I'm just trying to remember exactly. Yes, actually, that was the major focus. So I further separated the hair here. So now you have two more defined shapes, where here it was just kind of, it was a little defined, but it was kind of just one giant hair blob thing. But now you clearly have this. Let me get a different color for that. How about a bright green? You clearly have this shape here, and it's delineated from the rest of the hair. Like it pops up a bit more, right? So then you have the more flat part of the hair. Because all the hair in the back's getting caught up into the ponytail. So that's got to be slimmer, right? So I brought that down. And then I gave her a different shape for her scrunchie. I guess that's what they call them, scrunchies. Where did I think I pulled that from the concept art. Yeah. So it was a bit more like up and down, like they're not different components, but it was a bit more rounded segments. Excuse me. So I ended up incorporating that as opposed to just it being a blob shaped thing. And then it let me outline them a little better. So I think it reads, especially from far away, it reads a lot better. As a nice element there. So that was a major work with that and reshaped the ponytail a little bit. I think that's pretty much it. I don't think I touched much of the body, if at all. Oh, I closed that little pixel there on all their backpacks. And I don't know. I get why I didn't include it to begin with, but I think it works a little better with it being closed. We started to do a lot of different details with open pixels, and it's not bad this way, but I think it helps define their shoulder a little bit better, perhaps. I don't know. Maybe next week I'll renege on that and put them back. So the last character that got upgraded here is Deke. And he got a big overhaul because Deke was the last character that I hadn't tightened up. So I changed a lot of his hair. And these sprites were fine. They were just more of they were more of like an old style. Where I think these sprites are more refined. And you can see that, a lot of NES games look the way they did because they just weren't very refined, right? So, oh, wait, yeah, let's go back in here. I want to pull up Deke's, not adult Deke, or teen Deke, but the other, that probably went right by it. Oh, there he is. So his hair seemed thinner here than had been rendered. Let me bring this over here. So this hair looks bigger than it was rendered here. This hair seems very thin. Not like thin, but you know what I mean. Like it's closer to his scalp, it's kind of more compact. So I reshaped it a bit, and I think that that helped it there. And I tried to get the little hair divot seen here onto the back. I think was it this one? Yeah, here. Okay. Yeah. I think this is the one I followed closely. Because you see the little hair divot in the back. And then, yeah, this was the one I followed. And I think I got pretty close to that kind of style. You know, as close as the pixels will let me get. So I think it came out good. I think that's good. I'm pretty happy. I was previously not very happy with how Deke was. I thought that he could be much improved. So I think he's a lot better. He's got his eyebrows now, much to Tim's dismay. Oh, and I don't know if his shirt's necessarily tucked in, but I shortened it so that you could see the little belt there, little belt buckle, because I felt like that makes him look a little more prim, a little more like thinned out, right? But also like it's counter to Ricky's design, where Ricky just lets his shirt fly, and Deke therefore would be kind of the opposite of that, just for variety. And I filled in that pixel, of course. So there's Deke. I like how Deke came out. And he's got, yeah, his hand's about the same size as Ricky's, but that's fine. I mean, they're both boys, so they're gonna be a little bit bulkier overall. And yeah, I redid the shoes a little bit. He doesn't have quite the boot looking feet anymore. Kind of more slimmed down. And that's fine. I like that. So yeah, there we go. Yes, this is my own original game. I work on it with Tim and with Koi. Koi does the concept arts. And right now I'm doing the pixels. Tim helps with pixels sometimes, and then Tim helps with programming. So, yep, these are the 3 revised designs now, and I like them. I think that works. And those changes, I believe, are reflected in the little emote test here, and those are the old ones. And then we had talked a bit about this last time on stream, or one of the previous times, and then Tim really wanted to see if we do a dark screen. Maybe I've shown this, but it's been a few weeks since we had the stream, so let's look at it again. Yeah, I'm planning to sell it. It's gonna be a commercial project. It's all original, baby. Oh yeah, here. So we had a really dark room, and Tim was wondering, should we darken the characters when they're in that room? And so I've got 2 versions here. One where it's the kids in the light, and then the kids in the dark. And I'll be honest, I'm not sure. My fear is, yeah, it might work for the kids' designs, and it might work for some of the monsters, but eventually you're going to get monsters that are already using dark colors, that if you darken them anymore, they're just going to become black. So what do you do in that case? You know, do you let that just slide? Obviously, you can't just make them black, because then you wouldn't be able to see them, because the background's black. Would you just not darken them anymore? Or how would you handle that? And then if you don't darken them, are they going to look weird next to the kids? So, case in point here, I'm pretty sure that this color is as dark as it can get without turning to black. And then you've got this color here, right? But how do you reconcile that with darkening this character? Because if we take him here, and we put him, all the way here. Do I have a layer for him? I don't think so. Okay, yeah. And we'll put the walker in here, sure, right? Oh, He got messed. He got messed up. Let's see. How come? Oh, because he's using a different palette. Hold up. Let me. If I change this here, we're gonna load palette, mansion default, and then index. Oh, okay. Well, I was using a different color. Well, okay. Let's see. Let's just recolor him on the fly. It's fine. In fact, we can just do that here. We don't need to bother ruining that other file. So first, I want to make him transparent. Let's get him on the floor here. Okay. We want a gray. Oh. Is that what that is? Oh, I selected the wrong color. I wanted this one. Right, okay, and then... Nah, not that. That, okay. I think that's what it's supposed to be. Within reason here. So, okay, we've got that character, but look how much brighter he is compared to these characters, right? If they were all bright, it's fine. He kind of just fits right in. In fact, he's a little bit darker than them when they're bright, but that's fine because he's supposed to be. See? He's supposed to be darker than Ricky. He's a monster. You know? There's supposed to be a different design between... Here, let me close these. And we'll bring this here. It's supposed to be a different, you know, design, like color design for the monsters. They're gonna tend to be darker because they're not gonna have well, I mean, Deke accepted obviously, but like Melody and Ricky have more palish skins, so monsters are not going to have palish skins most likely. If you got a skeleton, they might be like white bones or whatever, but typically monsters got like green skin, red skin, blue skin, you know what I mean? So they're gonna be naturally darker looking. So, okay, you say, okay, well, why don't we just darken this guy, right? You can't really do that, though. I mean, you can do that, but what happens to your secondary color here? Is what's gonna happen. It's just gonna turn black. And now you've lost some detail. And then this is gonna turn dark. Not that one. That one. No, not that one. That one. See, and then there's no good... What do we have here? Here, how about this? There. No, I guess that is. But now you're starting to see another problem too. Number one, it's very dark, so it might be hard to see him. Number two, you've lost detail on the other thing. And number three, two colors indicate better a material than one. So when you look at this, you're like, oh, he's kind of like pinkish. Like a pinkish red. And the reason that you get that feeling is because both of these, this one's basically pink and this one's dark red. But if you do this, that illusion goes away. You see, he looks like he's a different color now. Looks like he's just blood red. But he doesn't look blood red here. Because you're using two colors to kind of denote the material. And they'll influence your perception of what that is. This is part of the problem that I have in Pocket Fighter EX where I don't use two colors. You're gonna have just loss of color information. So let's see. That's the one we actually used, right? That's the darker red. Probably the best you could hope for is to do this. And you sort of have still two tones. But man, you're really... Yep, you're already on that dark level. I don't know. It doesn't look right. It just doesn't look right. You'd have to just change their color scheme completely to make them darker, I think. So while it's an interesting idea, I think the limitations that we're working under don't facilitate that kind of look. In which case, kids are just light all the time. And that's okay. It's very NES-like. They typically wouldn't have done, like, darker palettes in a darker area. It would just, they'd just be contrasted a little higher. And I think that makes a nice, interesting look. Because if you see, and let me pull it up here, if I can. Let's go to Google. Google.com. Super Mario Bros. 1 NES World 3? Yeah, it's World 3. Alright, let me get it here. Copy. Hopefully this is a clear image. It is, good. Okay, here's the deal. Oh, there's no Mario sprite. I don't see him. Well, it doesn't matter. Here's the thing. On the NES, the old games, look what you basically have here. It's nighttime, sure, but all the characters are still lit as they normally would be. They're still brightly lit, in a way, as if it was daytime. And it gives an interesting contrast between the background and the foreground. And I'll be honest, I quite like that contrast, to be honest. That's one thing that stuck with me with the retro games, was kind of like, even though it was nighttime, things were brightly lit, but the background just happened to be black, right? And it just, I don't know, there's some kind of like magical look to it that way. It's just the high contrast. I really like it. And so I think, in contrast, get it? Using the same word. In contrast to what Tim was thinking, I quite like the look of this high contrast thing. So I don't see particularly any issue with the characters like this. And I think on a technical level, it'd be too hard to manage. Not for the kids' sake, but for everything else. So I would vote no on making them darker. I think it'd be a logistical nightmare to keep everything looking proper. You know what I mean? So that's what that was about. I also noticed that we selectively left the whites to be bright. And that sort of happens if you think about it. When things get dark, different colors look a little bit different. And certain things tend to be a little more contrasted than they would be normally under daylight. So, and it helps you keep track of the character too. The eyes are very important. Because you think about, when you look at someone, the first thing that you look at is the eyes, and that's just a natural response. It's not anything special. Just everybody happens to do it, whether they think about it or not. And I think it makes sense because when you look at someone, especially you're communicating with them, you want to look at their face. You want to see their mouth move, and you want to see what their eyes are. Because, like, if they're angry, you can tell by looking at their eyes. If they're sad, you can tell by looking at their eyes. So it's a big verbal, or not verbal, but visual communication, a non-verbal. I guess that's probably what I was thinking. A non-verbal communication thing. So you always look at the eyes first. And it's funny because if you play fighting games recently, the whole hubbub is about Guilty Gear Strive, and they've got a new character, Giovanna, and I guess a prolific Twitter artist, Hungry Clicker, had made a picture of Giovanna. Well, let me see if I can bring it up to kind of prove the point here. If I can find it. Hungry Clicker. There we are, Hungry Clicker. Let me see. It can't be that far back. It's only been a few weeks. Oh man, he draws like mad though, right? Oh, here we are. Is that it? Well, that's... Oh, you know what? I'm thinking the beta was just this week. But he did the Giovanna picture a long time ago because she was revealed at a different time. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to find it now, but it was funny. Geez, how it was November? How far back does this go? I don't know when it was posted now. No, oh, here it is. Okay, here. Let me copy it. Copy and paste. Here. So, someone posted it and they're like, wow, it's only been like an hour or an hour and a half or something like that since her announcement. He's like, how did he draw it so fast and it to be so good? And I said, it's because the way that humans communicate, you're not looking at the full picture. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, you're looking at her face. But, if you look at other parts of the image, they're not as detailed as the face. Like, look at the emblem. It's just blotted in. It's just blobbed in. Like the details on the shirt are very thick, coarse lines. They're not ironed out. Like, you look at the face and look at how detailed and thin the lines on the eyes are, right? It's the face. It's the eyes. The eyes are going to have the most work done to them because that's where you're looking. You look at just squiggly lines here for shading and stuff, but look, he actually went and took the time and did fine shading on the face and all that. But as soon as you deviate from the face, it's basically a sketch. But you don't notice it because your eyes lock on to the character's eyes first, and everything else is peripheral at that point because you're focused on that. And you don't even notice the fact that the shading is all just patchwork on the other parts. And so that's what I mean. You don't think about it, but you're doing it. You don't even notice it, but you're doing it. And now you'll notice it. Now you'll think about it. And it's gonna bug you. That's what you get for showing up. I'm gonna start giving you these intrusive thoughts. So yeah, there's my spiel about eyes. Eyes and the way we see things. Anyway, yeah, so I don't see a particular issue with having a hyper contrasted look, especially in a retro game, because you're just gonna get that through the limitations, and the old games did it, and that's fine. It's supposed to be an old game, so there you go. How about that? Big old tangent about contrast and stuff. What was this now? Aura 2? Oh, I think I was attempting to... Oh, I built this on top of... Yeah, I built this on top of another file. That's why all that junk's in there. And I just painted over it. So, yeah, there you go. Any questions about eyes? So, yeah, I think we'll just leave them white. I've been thinking about it more and more. It makes sense to just leave them high contrast, and that's fine. And maybe we can detail the background so it doesn't look quite as weird. If it looks weird at all. So, yeah, there you go. And then good old Mario. I just like the way this looks. It's just really cool. The fact that it's nighttime yet everything is so brightly lit. Something about it, just really nice. Yeah, don't save, don't worry about it. Yeah, I didn't have anything planned for today necessarily. We were supposed to have a meeting between Koi and Tim and I to help figure out what to do with the backgrounds. I'm not really good at backgrounds. I've never done them before, and I'm really bad at them. Is this the one? Is this the current version? This is what we did a couple streams ago, or last stream. I can't remember since I fell down the stairs and almost broke my hand. It's been a while. But, this is what I was tinkering with. And it looks alright, but it's mostly just simple shapes, right? I think the worst looking part of it is the part that's not simple, and that's the wallpaper, I guess, on the background. And the, I don't know, the little design here. I don't know if it would even show up since it's getting dark around the edges, but then I made this cube. That's it. And it's a nice looking cube, but when you think about it that way, and I did the candle too, I did everything here, but the candle's probably the most elaborate thing. I don't have any practice with complex backgrounds. Like, I can make blocks. Blocks are easy to make, but I don't know. I guess the candle came out alright, but compared to what? Just no, there's no, what's the word? Texture. There's no texture on the wall yet. But I don't know. See, that's the thing. The level of detail that we want to add, what is that? That's what we need to figure out. And I'm hoping that, especially since I'm going to be doing a lot of design and the programming, I'm hoping that I can start to offload some of the graphical responsibilities. Like, I don't mind doing characters and refining things, and obviously I'll be directing, you know, the art, but I don't think I don't have enough time to do everything, you know what I mean? And I run into that with the other project as well. So, we'll see. If possible, I'd like to at least offload the backgrounds. I don't mind so much doing the characters themselves. They're, you know, they're a bit more fun for me. I think characters are a little easier to get away with mistakes too. I mean, there's obviously technique and skill in doing character stuff, but you can sort of wing it a little bit, where it's like it's a human. You can just bend one thing or the other, and it just looks like his arms bend a little more. Now that perspective that looked really wrong, or that proportion that didn't look right, now it looks okay. I'm riding that crutch. It's just the amorphous human body covers up all my mistakes and lack of skill. That's fine, whatever. It is what it is. But yeah, I think I'm really bad at like solid structural drawing, so I could most definitely improve if I had time to do it all day every day and really study it, but I have a feeling that we're going to run into the problem of not having enough time for me to do that. So if I can get someone to dedicate to that, it would be very helpful. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah, that's kind of it. I think I was just going to screw around with the HUD and stuff because I don't know what else to do at this point. I don't know what... oh, you know why these look the way they do? It's because they're supposed to be sideways, right? So, let me say HUD here. And I'm just going to make a new layer. Oh, I should bring in... Let me bring in a new palette. Load. Mention default. This is probably going to screw the colors up a little. That's okay. I can easily recolor everything. Cool. Okay. We got more pale colors here, right? But we can fix that real quick. Oh, I don't know what I did, but it fucked up. What happened? What did I do? Oh, there we go. Okay. Alright. I did something. Oh. Wrong layer. Oh. That's not quite what I had before, but I think that's the color that... Yeah, I think that's the color that it was. We're just using a slightly darker palette this time. And the red looks fine, and the other stuff looks fine. These look a little dull. I mean, I could use that. That's what it was, right? Yeah. Well, we don't have to use the same color on each side, so I can go ahead and change that to this, or probably this looks better, yeah. So the reason that this looks the way it does is because it used to be, this, and I think it looked all right when it was horizontal. It just didn't translate too well when it was vertical. These were inspired partially by the Mario 2 little gem things that they had, and I think the Mario 2 ones were more. Oh, how come I'm not drawing my... Oh, I can't draw. Do I have... Oh, I have a selection. Can't draw outside the selection. And I think the Mario 2 ones were basically this. Something like this. What am I trying to do? Yeah, they were something like this. I don't know if they had an indent or anything. I'm just going off of memory here. I don't know, it might have been something like that. But they weren't hearts. They were like little fill-in gem things. Although, with Mario 2, the HUD was over daylight, you know, stuff. What? What do you want? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Dog's back. What do you want? What you doing? Hello. What you doing? You smell. You can go away now. You smell real bad, actually. And not as bad as normal. Or, not as bad as it could be, I should say. Be a little more accurate. Dogs can smell real bad. You don't have one, you'll have no idea. Depends on what they get in. What are you doing? Yeah, honey. Anyway, so I don't like the way that this looks, and obviously, if we're gonna keep the vertical alignment, which makes sense, I think, because you've got, that way it kind of walls off your image a little here. And then you can get more of that. It's not quite 4x3 in the middle, it's a little bit bigger. But you do get that retro feel of it not just being totally widescreen, you know what I mean? And that's why I put the HUD items on the side. And this is all placeholder stuff. I don't know if you might not even have money. You might not even have a floor thing. I think it's kind of neat though. Can kind of sort of give you an idea of where you might be. Well, not revealing it completely. But I think you're gonna have a map anyway, so I don't know. I don't think it's gonna be a big deal. You probably don't need this. Excuse me. Oh, wiped out today. Here, I have coffee here. Let me try some coffee. Yeah, it's part of why I don't have a plan today. I'm wiped out, man. I've been working a lot on rollback netcode stuff for the other project. I got a lot of shit done, but it wiped me out. My brain's mush now. It happens. If I didn't have stream, I'd probably just be resting right now. Alright, let's get rid of that. So what can we do here? And I might want to do this. Here, let's... Oh, that's all one layer, right? Is it all one by one? No, it's exported a bigger version. Was it this one? But this doesn't have the right colors. Or does it? Oh, maybe it does. Okay. Can we just flatten all this? Actually, I want to get rid of the HUD. Yeah, let's flatten all this. Flatten? Flatten. No. Flatten visible. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Let's try this. What, Peeper? What? You hear the chicken? She's freaking out about something.
Probably hears me stir this brownie batter. It's really thick.
Oh.
Like scraping.
Wonder if that's why the dog was over here. She didn't like the sound of it.
Yeah. I was over there beat banging and stuff around.
Oh, well, either way. Alright, so let's take a look at the HUD again. I'm going to say that we're just gonna cut this right out here. Oh, we'll have to fill it back in. Oh, no, that's not right. There. And let's save this as something else. You can feed her the brownie mix.
A little brownie batter. I'm a fan. Oh, she's not interested.
No.
She's looking at it. She don't want it.
Let's show the grid. 8 by 8. No, that's 9. 8, 8, 8 by 8. And you can see how this stuff is actually divided up. What are you doing? You back under the desk? You're not over here this much unless you're scared of something. What are you scared of? What are you scared of? Are you scared of? What are you doing? Hello. What are you doing? Making your weird noises. All the animals are congregating around me.
Oh, well, God forbid they love Daddy, huh?
Yeah.
Daddy don't want that!
No, I love the animals. I don't know. What should the health bar be like? What are you doing? Sit down. What are you doing? Peeper's got the the face around her eyes and around the beak. It turned red now. I think that means that she's fully grown. She's a fully grown hen.
Ready to make babies.
Yeah, that's what we need. More chickens.
Shut up, I want babies.
I know you do. What if they're hearts? I mean, hearts are kind of cliche, but it is an old game, right? Okay, well, there's two ways to look at this. You could either have, like, a small heart. Oh, that's not gonna... Would it be like this? No, that don't look right either. Have to be like this. You got a small heart, right? I'm guessing the ones in Zelda probably look like that. We do have space for bigger hearts. And we could also make them like quarter hearts and half hearts and stuff too, right? So, let's see, our maximum size is going to be something like this. Like, that looks pretty decent, I guess. You want them to come in more, right? So they'll have to be like that, I guess. Let's see how this looks when we fill it in. I have a feeling we want to mess with it a bit more than this, but... Boom, boom. Okay, it didn't look quite right. Looks kind of lopsided, right? I don't know what you would do. Hey, that looks a lot better already. But would you want to... No? I don't know. That don't look quite right. If you want to do this... That's alright. That's pretty decent. Now, we have other colors available. Since we're doing it on black, we actually have 2 colors available. So you could do... Probably the best way to do this, if you want to do like quarters of hearts, halves of hearts, things like that, is that you'd want to use some sort of blue. Oop. That way it's like, oh, you have a quarter heart taken out, right? Or the whole thing's dark, in which case you know that you have that heart available, but you've lost it by getting hit, something like that. And then you could do the same thing for the small one. I'll explain in a minute why I don't think the small one's a good idea. But just for the sake of seeing them together, there you go. You have that. Well, I guess not that necessarily the small one's a bad idea. But that in the current frame, the way that it is, and I'm sure the HUD will change depending on how the game ends up, but under the current frame, I think it makes sense to do the big hearts, and I'll show why in a second. But that's how you would do those. I'm just going to move these to the side because I don't want them necessarily hanging around. I do like that color for these hearts, though. I think those are nice. So anyway, let's fill up the area with hearts here. I'm gonna say the right side. Like, I guess this would fill out vertically, right? So how many can we get in here? I would actually say either... Yeah, I think that this should move up. Remember, we want to follow the grid here to keep everything... Oh, no, I don't want to go in full screen. There we go. You want to follow the grid to keep everything structured properly. And because it looks retro, obviously. So what I can do here... I should probably do this in pixel. That's a PY... Pixel? PYXEL? I don't know. It's a different program. It's a little more depth to tile sheets. Okay, and then to show that like one more is missing. Yeah. So say this is your health and... Oh, wrong one. Like as it fills up, it goes like this, right? But as you take hits, it goes down like this. That would be the idea. And then you could have quarters of hearts. And halves of hearts. So I like this. Little Nemo has great music. There. And then you can have something like that, right? Yeah, we'll just get rid of those. Those are easy enough to make. I'll just call that gameplay. There. And so you can have that. How's that? I think that works pretty good. Oh. Hey, sit right. Chicken's getting rowdy on the back of the chair here. Let's see. Nah, those look a little too dark. Like they're poisoned hearts or something. I'm just experimenting with different colorings here. I think we've got the right red, though. as you can see, there's not much of a selection here for red. So yeah, I think that works. You can have the dark blue be the obvious, you know, you got hit or you lost that portion of health, but it shows your maximum health. And then maybe you only start off with 3. And then you grow into having more. Now the way that this is, I'd probably have the health bar a little bit bigger and then somehow reduce these ones down. But I think it's decent so far. I like the way that looks. And hearts are a classic way to do it. I mean, Star Tropics had hearts, I think. And Zelda had hearts. Castlevania had hearts for different reasons. But it's a very video game staple kind of thing. And I don't think that in this kind of retro game, I don't think like an HP meter is appropriate. The nuance may not be, maybe no reason to have that level of nuance in the game to say like, oh, you need to like seeing damage numbers and stuff. I don't. Oh, sorry, Pepper. I didn't know you were down there again. Hello. Yeah, you're really scared of something, aren't you? You're sitting right under my feet. What are you scared of? What are you scared of? Look at her face. You guys can't see it, but her face is... What are you scared of? Oh, it's okay. Hey, Red Pug, what's up? But yeah, anyway, so I think having up to quarter hearts is fine. You know, at the very least, you should probably have half hearts. But I don't think any more nuance than that. Like, the difference between 10 and 11 damage is not significant or noteworthy, I think, in this kind of game. So I wouldn't want to have it like the Castlevania games, like Symphony of the Night, they have the damage numbers pop up. But Symphony of the Night's got like 400 different weapons and all these different pieces of armor and stuff. And I don't think that level of distinction is appropriate for this kind of game. So I don't think I would do anything like that. Because if you do, then, like I said, you're going to need an HP bar or something. You know, something a little more nuanced to look at. But I think the HP meters and bars also, like, kind of lose something in a way. Or, like, the bars the old style. Because you can have, like, a health bar. You know, and hits are pretty well segmented in that. But, like, with Symphony of the Night, they also... Well, no, actually, the MP was a bar. They didn't even give you an MP counter numerically. But your HP was just a numerical one. And it was really, really difficult. That's one of the criticisms I will levy at the game. It was really difficult to know, one, how hurt you are. Because it doesn't tell you how many hit points you have in total. It just tells you how many you have remaining. And then... So you don't have a bar to tell you what your total percentage is lost. You only have that numerical number of what you have remaining, and it's really annoying. And it's kind of hard to visualize too, like you got hit by something. And it's like, with a bar, you can see the before and after, sort of. Like, you knew what it was before, typically. And when you get hit, you can say, wow, that took out a big chunk of damage, or, it didn't do very much at all. And I think that player... on the fly calculation is very important. So that's why I like to have meters over numbers, flat out numbers. In a turn-based RPG, not that big a deal. Because you can kind of like calculate, you can stop and check and think about it. But in an action game, you can't do that. Will I play SVC on the Neo Geo Pocket again? Probably. Oh, we're playing Wonder Boy. Wonder Boy? Is it Wonder Boy? Wonder Boy in Monsterland or something? On, I guess it's on PC, but it's a remake of an old game. Oh yeah, and I want to get to that too. I want to show you something that we discovered while playing that. So we're playing that right now. Maybe we'll return to SVC later. After I'm done with that. Anyway, so... Yeah, I think having like quarters of hearts is fine. Especially if the hearts are nice and big like this. I don't know, they look really big though, don't they? I don't know. I guess. I wouldn't want just one strip of hearts in the middle. I think that'd be a waste of space. Now, the other thing that I could do, the other thing I could do, let me put this back on. Let's see, how did I do this? Like this, right? What if I did this? Gives it a little more space, right? A little more room to breathe. Could do something like this. Actually, in that case, I would... No, I guess I wouldn't move that up. How is this presented here? Okay, what I would do here is probably do this. Yeah. Something like that. And there's a couple ways we could do this too. Could cut this part off and do that. But in that case, I would say you should move this down to the half bar and do that. You could do that and then sort of open on the sides. That way the hearts don't look like they're too close to the white, right? Because otherwise, with the items box, I had them in the center, because if I doubled up, and I could absolutely double up on them, they'd just be too close to each other, right? But we apply the same thing here. It still gives you a frame of reference for how far the box extends down. And now you've got a little more room, a little more freedom here to move these things around. Now this one might not work out too well here. There's black pixels around it. Like that's a little more cramped, right? So I don't know about that. Now you could say, well, space them out a little bit, right? The problem is, if you want to keep a retro look, you need to keep them on the grid. So, I mean, you could technically, what's that, 4, 4, and 4? Yeah. What is this one, 4? Yeah, that's 4. You could technically do it this way. It wouldn't be... It definitely wouldn't be what they would have done back in the day. There's too much loss of data here. Because the graphics on the NES were 8x8 tiles at the smallest, as far as I'm aware. So to do this, you need 6 tiles to do this. Instead of 4. And they would not have wasted that space. So they would have probably found a different way to display these. Either single file like I had them. But I don't even know. I mean, I just drew this in here. I don't even know if there's going to be an items box. Because what you could do, right? If, say, you need to select these for some reason, you could just make a bracket. And that'll fill out a little bit of the extra space, right? See? Then you do want them clearly separated so that you can do that. I'm trying to think now. What kind of design can we give this? Because obviously, like, you can do that, but It could flash. I don't know if you'd want it to flash on the HUD though. It'd be a little distracting. I'm trying to think, you know, because this, excuse me. This looks a lot like this up here already. Wait, I do like that thicker look there. Yeah, you absolutely had to plan everything out. And you had to smartly do graphics. Now the NES could flip things top to bottom, left to right, but it could not rotate things. So you could say this is actually not 4 tiles, it's only 3. I was like, well, wait, that doesn't make sense. How is it 3? Because if we divide these out, yeah, let's actually do it like this. You know what? This is actually just this rotated and mirrored. Oh, wrong way. Oh, hold on. I undid my thinking. There. It's actually rotated and mirrored, and it's the same thing. So you could say, oh, this ring only has 3 tiles instead of 4, which is technically true, but the NES couldn't. It couldn't rotate a tile. This was actually still would take 4 to produce. But this only takes 2, and it's because you can flip them, right? So you've got this. Oh look, they're the same tile. Boom, and just pack them together, and that's it. Yeah. Oh. Newer games can do that too. Chat's talking about dividing up sprites into little tiles and stuff. That was the de facto way to do it back in the day. Now you can just kind of have a whole texture with a sprite. But if you're going, oh, excuse me, I'm sleepy today. If you're going to do big sprites and you still need to save memory, you can actually still do this. In current games, you can still chop things up into pieces, and some games do that. Skullgirls, the fighting game, does that to save space on their big sprites. They could put all the sprites in there, you know, as big as they are, but it's going to leave a lot of wasted space around the edges where all it's just blank space. It's not being drawn. So they actually chop theirs up into little bits like this. A program must do it, must analyze it and chop it up into squares of some size, and then it programs, you know, outputs a file or whatever, how to reassemble the sprite in game. So there's still some cases where you would use that, although they're very rare nowadays. I certainly don't bother to do it in Pocket Fighter because the sprites are so small anyway that it doesn't matter. But for something like a beam, like Terry's power charge. Is it? No, not charge. Power stream. No, that's a whole sprite. Maybe part of it. Ken's fire pillar into Shinryuken. I actually just have a small little thin 1 pixel sprite, and I just enlarge it. I scale it up. I extend it to make the whole thing as tall as I want. There's no sense in having the whole thing just loaded in memory. Only the unique parts really need to do that. But yeah, so this heart in a jar. Whoop, too far. This heart in a jar, I guess, I don't know, would be a healing item, I guess, whatever. I don't know. And the saw, I don't know, I was thinking like maybe you gotta chop a tree down or you gotta saw through something. Maybe you'd have to select which one to use. Although I don't like that kind of design. I actually really hate having to toggle through different items like that, especially for things like healing items. Because when you really need them, when you really need that healing item, and you're fumbling through your your menu and not paying attention, and that's when you get hit and then you die anyway, and it's so frustrating. I'd rather have it be like an auto use item. Yes, today they announced Blaster Master 03 coming out. So yeah, it'd be the third one on Switch. And maybe on Steam? I don't know. But anyway, yeah, so I don't know if you would select the item, you'd have a little bracket here. And that kind of justifies the additional space around it, instead of having it all crammed in here. You know, two on two. The hearts worked this way because I deliberately left a black outline on the edge of the tile, so it kind of buffers it, pads it from the other one. These items did not have any such thing. Yeah, I don't know. I think it looks alright. Yeah, here you can have half and quarter hearts to show. I think that'd be enough nuance. I'd think whole hearts, especially if they were this big, would not be a good idea. You'd have to make them different. Oh yes, and I was going to say, why don't I do the small hearts, right? So let me cut these out of here. And we'll just draw a small heart again. Not a big deal. So there's your small heart. So I said before, I did not want to use the small hearts for a specific reason. And that's because they would facilitate a very wacky grid here with the amount of space that's remaining, assuming that the HUD stayed this way. I don't think this would look very appealing, and I think it would be hard to read at a glance. I do one. Yeah, I don't think that's too legible at a distance. It's like, how many hearts do I have? Hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4 times, 1, 2, 3, you know what I mean? You start doing some math right there to figure out what's going on. So I don't think that's appropriate. And likewise, only having them in the middle poses the same exact problem of how many are there, because I can't really see, while also wasting all the space on the side. So I don't believe those are good ideas. Just to follow up on what I was saying before. But the big hearts are cool. It's like, oh, I've got, you know, I've got 5 1/4 hearts. You don't need to have, it's okay to have like quarter hearts and stuff, because the big units of damage are really what you're going to focus on. You're like, oh, I've got 3 hearts left, or I've got 5 hearts left, or whatever. That's fine. It's okay to have that kind of nuance to it, because the amount of damage that you take, you know, you're not getting dinged for a quarter heart every time. It's probably more like a half heart or 3/4 heart. And so it gives you a pretty good idea of, you know, how many real solid units of health that you have left. And it's also, of course, depending on how much damage you actually take. If you take 3 hearts worth of damage with every hit, you might as well just make 1 heart for 3 hit points, or 1 heart for 4 hit points, and then, you know, have that, because your smallest unit here is going to be the smallest amount of damage that you can take, and I think 1/4 is reasonable. So if I use hearts, I'd probably do this. And you don't have to use hearts, you can use kind of anything you want, as long as it visually communicates that it's something related to health. Let's see, you could go kind of the Mario 2 route, right? They've got gems. Uh, yeah, I mean, like, you could do that too. So here I would say that the blue, oh, am I not filling? There we are. You see that the blue ones, and I outlined this one here instead of keeping it the same shape. It's kind of looks cool. You can also do little things where it looks like it's a hole or something's supposed to fit into it. Like this. Looks like it's missing. Or something should be inside of it. And you could amplify that effect even more. We still have one more color to use, right? Either by doing the same thing here, or kind of how Zelda did things. You could make it a shiny object. Kind of looks like it has depth a little now, right? You could even take it a step further and do something like this. Or even something like this. And it doesn't look quite so good. What if we brought this back? That's a little better. It looks more like an object. Or just cut off the bottom. Nah, that doesn't look very good. Yeah, something like that. You get the idea. What if... nah. Well, you get the idea though. You can play with it and find a way to make the shape look like something. Another thing I like to do is you can kind of make it look like it's sunken in, right? Or yeah, actually, you know what? It would be more like this. Oh, I cut out too much. You'd be doing something more like this, I think. Yeah, that feels like it's... What if we do that? Nah, it looks like it's billowed out. You could maybe do this. Yeah, then it kind of looks like there should be something in there, right? Like it's sunken into the screen, and something should be in there. And then on the opposite end, you could actually take the same pattern, honestly, and just do this. No, I guess it would be done. Now this one looks like it's popped out, and that one looks like it's pushed in. Do that. No, something doesn't feel right about that. I have to really experiment with this. Like this. Now this looks like a gem thing. Yeah, you could even go further and do something like this. Now it looks like a Mario coin, though. Well, you get the idea. Point is, you want one side to be that. I suppose you could attempt to do this. Make it even. It's alright. It's not perfect, but it's alright. It's a little elaborate. You don't need to do too much because the implication of one side being detailed assumes that the other side may not be. Oh, there's stuff you can do. Nah. And then you can apply a shadow to fill out the rest of the thing, but I don't think that works out too good. I think the best one right now is just to have it like that. And that's it. You could also just go straight to the outline. Hello, peep, what's up? Chicken's talking. You can also do that. In fact, that would actually go well with this. Because you're showing that there's light coming in from this angle. Or from this angle if you want to do this. In fact, I would take that one on the bottom off maybe. Or darken it? I don't know. Yeah, I guess that's fine. And then now that you see like this, you get the idea that there's some volume to it. You could go further by doing this. Now it's even more pronounced of a shape. Either way, you want something that looks kind of cool. I mean, hearts are fine. Hearts are pretty alright. I think I would use my third color here. Well, I actually wouldn't even need to technically use my whole third color, but I probably would. When you get damaged, you could have the hearts that were taken show up in this color. Say it took a whole half here. So once you get hit, you can see this light color here for the full amount of damage that you just took. And then, you know, after so many frames, it will turn dark, but you'll get to see how much you were hit for, a before and after. It's kind of like in a fighting game, if you get hit with a combo, typically the life bar will show a red portion from start to finish where that change in health started and ended, you know, for the full damage of the combo. And you could do that here. I think that would be a nice effect. And that would be our 3 colors. We could assign that to one palette, and then these would just be, I guess, graphic image changes. Otherwise, you would just assign them a new palette. But this is fine. This would technically take 3 versions of each tile. And since they're mirrored, we only need half, right? So in tile data, you would have the 3 you have 3 palettes that you need, so in tile data you would need to have these like this. And then you just mirror them to make the hearts. It's not too bad. It's not very efficient, but I think for that kind of system it would be okay. Now obviously I don't need to really worry about that because we're just kind of faking it. But I think that would work, so... I don't know. I think it looks kind of neat. I wonder, would I add anything to the hearts here to make them look a little more popping out? Could do what we did over here. And then just highlight the corners, right? Do something like that. Like, that looks kind of neat. I don't know if I would go and do anything on the bottom, though. Remember, you'd have to mirror it. I mean, the other option is you could just outline the whole thing. Or most of it. That doesn't look right, though. What if we did the whole thing? Probably look more like a heart container than a heart. It actually doesn't look that bad, right? It's actually not too bad. Now, because we're not restricted here, we could also just not care so much about the limitations and say, oh, we're gonna do that, and I don't know, something like that, just to be fancy. That looks terrible, actually. You get the idea. I think at the very least, having that helps. That's sort of like a shine, right, on the tops and sides. That looks pretty good. And then the bottom can just be what it is. Let's duplicate that for all of them. And see, see what that looks like. This is where pixel would come in handy, because I could have a source tile and then the rest of it would just paste in. There. Yeah. And then once the damage was displayed, it will come out, and then you'd see it like this. I think the best way to handle how the hearts look in their fractal states, I guess. In other words, their partial states. Let's zoom out here. I think the best way would to be, I'm trying to show it here visually, but I think the bottom right goes away first, and then you would have it like this. Right? Yeah. So quarter heart, half heart, 3/4 heart. Right? Yeah, because if you take a hit, boom, this one goes away. Then this one goes away. So it's bottom right, top left, or bottom left, top left. For how they would go if you take incremental damage. I think that would look right. I think that makes the most sense. Just from a visual standpoint, this just looks nice, as opposed to the opposite. You could absolutely flip these around, but I don't think they look right. Is this? Hey, sit right. Yeah. Come here. Here, talk to chat. What? What are you doing? That's a microphone. You don't know. You don't know what that is. She's just looking right at it. What? What is that? It's a microphone. You don't know. You don't know nothing. You're a chicken. You're a chicken. All right, here. Go underground. Bye-bye. This is what we call the left-right bias. It's the same image. By all rights, it's a symmetrical. It's the same thing. But it only looks right one way. Whenever you're working on something, you should always flip it around too. So if you're working on a drawing or whatever, flip it around, and it'll freak you out how it doesn't look right. And they call it the left-right bias. And sometimes you want to do things to mitigate that, but it's just something to be aware of. It's very strange, but I think this orientation looks right. And you could have the same effect too, like when you fill hearts. You'll see them gradually fill up. Well, not gradually, but over like 3 frames before each part fills in or something like that. Kind of like when you take damage, you can see the amount of damage before it goes away. I think that looks cool. I think it's neat. And then of course you got the cutout so that you can see pretty clearly, but it's not mistaken for a hit point, you know, that you've lost it. So that's just some visual communication stuff to be aware of. In fact, we can animate this too. 16 by 16. Just to make sure. Make it a little easy. Actually, you know what? You can do this. I forgot about this. You can just, if you double click, you double tap, and then drag it, you actually can do it by the grid here, which makes it really helpful. Where is HUD? HUD. Oh, I was on the wrong one. There. Oop. And then we've got this one, right? And then you can see them go. 300 maybe? Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, then you can see them kind of like whittling away, right? I'll make this one 500. Make this one 500. And you can see how they get consumed. And we can take it a step further. Do this and give it 33. There. And then new frame here. Where's grid settings? We want 8 by 8. In this case. $33. New frame. Oop. $33. And then the last one. 3. There. And you can see something like that. You see how much has been taken from me for a second. And there's two ways you could do this. You could just have it real quick like that. Or you would have it linger a bit more. It's alright for it to linger. Just don't do it too long. It might get distracting. Of course, it'll look different if you lose a whole heart. You'll get the flash on the whole thing, right? And we can simulate that too. Actually, it would be really fun. Here. No, hold on. And one more. So the full one will be at the end. We will refill it here. Trying to think. Well, I built a file just for this. Frames to milliseconds. I'm gonna say 4 frames, 67 milliseconds. Okay. Where are we here? I think 4 frames will look right. We'll find out if I'm correct or not. 67, 67. Okay. And then we need the half. Then the 3/4. So it takes it out, and then when we restore it, they come back in. So healing item would look like that. I think it's actually a little slow. So let's go down to 3 frames, and that's 50. 2 frames would be the 33. Here. There you go. Wait, is this one also 50? Yeah. I think that works. Because when you hit a healing item, you want to see it come back quick. Just like whoop, whoop, whoop. And then they flood in. Yeah. And then, yeah, what I wanted to do then next is take this, paste it here. We're going to use this color, and it's only going to be 33 2 frames, and then this one, that can be another 500, that's fine. So we'll see what happens when you lose a whole one, right? Oop. Yeah, and then you get the flash. Oop. Actually, there's not a lot of time here. Make that 1,000. That's 1 second. Hi, peeps. Be back. Sit right this time. Sit right. There you go. Good girl. Yeah, there you go. I think it looks nice. I'm also worried that it doesn't flash long enough when you take a whole heart, right? Let's see, 3 frames is 50, right? Let's see what we get. That looks alright, that looks appropriate. What if we do 3 frames for all of them? For a little consistency here, right? That works. That's alright. I think it looks cool. Health hearts. Damage. Animation. How about that? That looks cool. Alright. I want to switch gears just a little bit because we were playing Wonder Boy on Sunday. Yeah. Get my days correct here. We were playing Wonder Boy on Sunday, and I thought there was something incredibly interesting with what they did regarding damage. So here, I'll, good. The track faded out just in time, I guess. Here, let's actually play this, and I'll show you what I mean. It's something I might actually seriously want to adopt for this project. I'm going to start a new game Just so you can see, because it's a little easier to see here. Yep. Oh. So here. Look at this. You can't pass an enemy even if you've been hit. I think it does after a while here. It lets you through, but you can't just barge in. Interesting, right? You're not allowed to just barge through enemies. If you get hit, you can't just proceed. You can't just walk ahead. You have to, like sometimes it lets you, but I think the intention is to not let you do that. Especially if you jump too, I think same thing. Yeah, so you just get bounced back. Now, this is interesting for a couple of reasons. One, because it's unusual. Most games don't do this. And part of the reason that they don't do this is because you can get locked into a corner and just get bounced around forever. I think I have an idea how to solve that. Actually, I just thought of it. But the other thing is typically the games just let you go through the characters. They let you walk right on through, right? But in this case, you can't do that. So what does this do effectively? This forces you to deal with the problem. You can't just say, oh, I got hit, I'm gonna walk through. You keep getting bounced back. Meaning you have to fight the enemy, you have to jump around him, you have to defeat him, you have to deal with him one way or another. You have to deal with that enemy. And I think that's important for a game like the Mansion game, where it's a little bit more horror-based, and you're basically, you can't run away from your problems. You have to face your problems head on, essentially. So would it be a good idea to adopt this kind of hit stun where you cannot go through the enemies? You have to deal with the problem. While I was playing this game, the only thing I could think about is like, man, that might actually be a really cool thing to put into the Mansion game. And so I absolutely feel that that's a valid thing to do. It's just so neat in that it forces you to deal with these problems one way or another. And you'll see also here coming up in a second what happens if you get stun locked into a corner. Because there are some problems with this that you have to be aware of. One is that you're stuck, you're immobile once you're getting hit. Here, you can't move. You can't change your trajectory once you get hit. You know, once you hit the ground, you're fine. What if you can't hit the ground? What if you're stuck? Well, here's one thing. The enemies have to not trap you against the wall because you can get stun locked. Just watch. We'll go to the intro boss here. It's Mecha Draken for whatever reason. But what? See that stuff that he shoots out? Watch this. Watch this. Come on, get closer. He's not getting closer. Come on, get over here. Maybe if I jump on him. Yeah, see? Look it. If you get stuck in him, he can just juggle you. He keeps juggling you over and over. See that? Now you cannot let your invincibility run out when that happens because you will just get stun locked to death. It'll be kind of like Castlevania. But see how you get carried along with it? That's to prevent you from getting stun locked to death. But if he got into the corner and never let me pass through, how would that work? You would have to have some kind of fail-safe to say, oh, you got juggled for X amount of time. Well, okay, now you can pass through that enemy or any enemy or something, you know what I mean? And get past something. But I like the idea that it doesn't let you bully the boss. It doesn't let you get behind the boss. Is maybe it would be really hard for the boss for you to fight the boss from behind. You know what I mean? Because you have to hit its head, as you can see it's telling me. How would you do that if you got to the other side? I don't know. I'm not sure if you can get to the other side, right? maybe you could glitch it there, but you'll probably get bounced back out. It'd be really hard to hit him on the head. So it helps solve a couple design problems like that, where the boss doesn't have to turn around now, right? Because you can't get behind him. But the other thing is that you can't bully the boss. You can't use the iframes. You can't abuse the iframes to get around something. It only stops damage from occurring, but it doesn't stop you, or doesn't allow you to just pass through him, you know, for free. And I think that's really interesting. It really feels a little bit frustrating, but in not so much in a devastating way, but it makes you really think, oh, I have to deal with this boss. I have to actually deal with the enemies. I can't just run around them. I can't just bypass them when they're hard. I'm forced to deal with them. And of course here he gets transformed. But I thought that was incredibly interesting. I'm not sure if I've ever seen a game do that before, like at all. And I never grew up with Sega stuff, so I believe that's what this game originally was on. Is you can see this is the original graphics. It's a little dated, right? Oh boy, key. But I think it's interesting. There's a lot of things in this game that look like they were way ahead of their time. Considering that, I don't know, is this Master System? This isn't even Genesis. This is Master System. Like, that's NES era. That's not Super Nintendo or Genesis era. Pretty crazy, right? The old school sound effects. Yeah, same thing with this too. They make you deal with the blocks. They'll push you back. I don't know. I just find it incredibly interesting that that's what find it really, really interesting that that's what they chose to do. I wonder if I can get in there before the castle collapses. Well, either way, that's what I wanted to show. I thought that was incredibly interesting, the way that they did that. Like I said, I can't think of any other game that does that. I mean, maybe other ones in this series, but I mean, outside of that, it's weird. I just can't even think of it. Castlevania would just let you get destroyed in the corner. So, they definitely took the harder route. I thought it was interesting. So, oh shoot, did I forget now? What did I say? To help prevent you from getting stun locked in the corner. Was the idea that you could bounce a few times and then if you get airborne for a certain time that you can just get released and allowed through? I don't know if that was the idea I had or not. I'm sleepy, I can't remember. I should have just blurted it out when I had it in mind. That might be it though, that if you get stun locked in the corner for 2 seconds straight or something, it'll finally just let you go through and you can walk out. You'll just bounce out. The other thing you might have noticed is, as long as I was getting bounced, my invincibility continued. So if I got bounced again while I was invincible, it reset my invincibility counter, and so I could excuse me. Sleepy. And so at that point, that's part of how you can't get like screwed in the corner, right? Because it resets your invincibility time whenever you do that. Now, I don't know if you could possibly take a more nuanced approach, because it was a nice way to keep myself invincible. You could potentially abuse that depending on how quickly it wears off. And I'm wondering if once you touch ground that you don't get a reset if you touch them. It's at your own risk to reapproach the enemy. But as long as you're airborne, it will continue to reset your counter. But once you touch down, once you touch the ground and land, then your reset doesn't happen. I think that would be reasonable. I think that would be all right. You don't want it to wear off in air, because then again, you could get juggled into the corner so much and just keep taking damage over and over and over. But I think that makes sense. I think that would be all right. So, yeah, I just wanted to share that discovery, I guess. I'm not decided whether or not we'll actually use it for real, but here, get music back here. I don't know if we'll use it 100%, but I do like the idea because it's a horror-based, or it's a platforming game with horror elements. And I do want it to be somewhat scary on some level, and one way to do that is to make it mechanically scary, where you can't just bluff your way through the game. You have to deal with the incoming enemies. You have to deal with the problems in the game head on. You know, and if that's the case, it's a little scarier if you can't just walk through them and go to the next screen, or go, you know, walk through the tough enemy, just get hit and say, oh, I'll take the 2 hearts worth of damage. I don't want to fight this thing. I just want to run away. I want to run through it and go. This would be an interesting way to make you deal with it, either by evading it, by jumping over it, or by dealing with it, by defeating it. So I'm seriously considering putting that in this game. I thought that was a very nice little touch. So yeah, that was neat. But that's pretty much all I can think of to do for today. I think I need to go rest. I'm pretty exhausted, as you can tell. But it was a good discussion. We got some stuff done. We talked about interactive or visual communication. We talked about the hit stun thing. We did a little HUD work. We talked about the hearts. And I don't know, I like hearts. Hearts are cool. They're pretty ubiquitous. I guess that's the word, right? What's the definition of ubiquitous?
It's kind of everywhere.
Yeah, everybody knows what it means, right?
Yeah, it's like God's ubiquitous. He's everywhere.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so ubiquitous. So I think it hearts as health is a ubiquitous video game thing. It's very straightforward. Especially when you get hit and one disappears and you're like, oh, okay, that's my health. All right, yeah, that's fine. Even if you don't have the language barrier, even if you can't read health, and you get hit and it flashes, which brings your eyes to it, by the way, and it's why I like to do that. This little flash here, it brings your eyes to the fact that something happened with it. And it doesn't have to be overbearing, but you want some kind of flash there. So that when you get hit, you see the flash, there's a visual association between, oh, I got hit, and this part of the bar here, this flashed. So they must be related because they animated at the same time. This one caused the other. You know, that's another part of visual communication. And so that would work. I think that would work very well, and I think hearts are fine enough. You'll find out soon enough what your health meter is when you start getting hit, right? So even if, like I said, if you can't read the English letters here of health, then that's fine. But I think it's cool to have the little tags on here. So, and you know, we'll end it on this. It brings me to a funny little thing that I read, that when modern game developers today want to localize their game, so say we take this game and we make a localization for the Japanese audience. It's produced in America or in an English speaking country, but say, hey, it sold well, we're going to make a Japanese localization version and we're going to give it over to the Japanese so they can read the text and follow the story and all that. That's great, but I forget where the article was from. It might have been Gama Sutra. They talked about the Japanese reactions to Western games that have been localized into Japanese, and they talked about how they don't feel right, they don't feel correct. And one of the big things is the English developers, when they're translating, especially into like other languages like French and all that stuff, they'll translate everything, and I mean everything. This health will get translated. This floor will get translated. All the text will get translated. Even the money symbols may change. But the Japanese aren't used to that. Typically, the game that you got, outside of actual text boxes and stuff, but the game that you got on the NES was basically what they had in Japan. And that meant English menus. And they just dealt with it. They just learned the words, or they just figured out what it was, and they're used to it now. See, they learn English as like a secondary language, most of them, so it's not a big deal. But they know what high score is. They know what game over is. They go, yeah, the load, the save, the game over. Yeah, exactly. And so they complained that the games weren't right when they translated them because they didn't have the English menus or the common English words that they used to have. And so they felt there was something strange about it. There was something off about it. I thought that was incredibly interesting. It's something that I never really even thought about, but yeah, they've been used to the English menus for so long. I don't care. It is what it is. And if you play enough imports, you'll start to notice what yes and no look like, in the menus for Japanese games and stuff. But yeah, basically don't look down on us gamers. Yeah, pretty much. I don't know if I would go as far to say that they were insulted, but they were kind of put off by it. It's kind of just like, there's something not right about this. I thought that was really funny. That was very interesting. So I guess that'll do it for today. So let's see. It's Thursday, so Sunday we're gonna play the game that you just saw. I gotta finish that up. I don't know. I'm at least halfway through it. I'm pretty sure. That's that Wonder Boy in Monsterland, or Monster Boy in Wonderland, or whatever. The one that you just saw me play. I just thought it was very nice animation. So we'll finish that up, and then I can give my full thoughts on that. And yeah, and then Monday we'll do more Pocket Fighter EX stuff, and then Thursday we'll be back here with something maybe a little more structured. But I don't know. I thought this kind of worked. I just winged it. I'm looking like, oh yeah, the HUD. Yeah, let's work on the HUD. I don't know. I still gotta have my meeting with Coy and Tim, and we gotta figure out what to do with backgrounds. Gotta just kind of stuck on them. But yeah, so I thought that was pretty good. I had fun tonight. So a little sleepy, but it was worth it to show up. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So thanks everybody for hanging out. If you like the stuff that I do and you want to support my personal efforts in game development, you can hit up the Game Dev Scrubs Patreon that supports the stream and all the stuff that I do. It's patreon.com/GameDevScrubs, and you can get prototype builds of the stuff that I work on right here on stream, and more like inside updates on what's going on. So I've got names to read out of our very generous patrons. I got Cameron Lyle, Varinex, Omega Kia, Waken Dumper, Angel, Rui Luis, Uncle Roy, Mike Cruz, Taryn Williams, Corporal Chungus, Bryce Nagolingum, AJ, Engraved Spirit, Miles Griffin, Ben K, D-Money107, and LD Walker. Well, thank you guys very, very, very much. Helping keep the lights on and the pets fed. Like the chicken. Come here. Talk to the people. Talk to the people. Here, talk to the people. Go on. I put her up to the microphone. She gets real silent. Are you? Oh, no. That's all right. No, she stepped on the controller and she freaked out. Oh, it's okay. You're fine. What are you doing? What are you doing? No, get off the keyboard. Oh God, get off the keyboard. She's going nuts. She's pecking now. You don't like the microphone? You don't like the microphone. You don't like that microphone. No, she's just quietly studying it. Okay, fine. You can go back on your perch. Chickens. Yeah, they're so funny. They're so curious. Oh, and the dog's here now too. What do you want? Were you sleeping down there the whole time? Oh my God, I'm the pet keeper today. Okay, anyway, I'm gonna you're getting out of here. So I'll see you guys later. You guys have a good one and scrub out.